a real performer, a true entertainer, an all-star. No joke.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome two of New Orleans' native sons, Grammy Award-winning musicians and hometown heroes, Harry Connick Jr. and Branford Marsalis.
How y'all doing tonight? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the New Orleans Arena. This is the first time New Orleans has hosted an NBA All-Star game, and it's incredibly exciting for our city to have you here for this great weekend. We're here tonight to show you a little bit of what New Orleans has to offer.
That's right. What do we have? We have our own unique culture, unbelievable food, which I hope a lot of you have gotten a sample this weekend. And let's not eat, yeah, that's right, how about that food? All right, let's not even talk about the music. We're gonna give you a taste of the music tonight.
And of course, New Orleanians are world famous because we know how to let the good times roll.
Et la bâche. So let's get this show started with the music that's made our city famous. Please welcome one of New Orleans' finest ensembles, the Rebirth Brass Band, featuring Trombone Shorty and Kermit Ruffins.
It's time to meet the All-Stars for the East. The athletic trainer from the New Jersey Nets is Tim Walsh. The assistant coaches from the Boston Celtics are Kevin Eastman, Armand Hill, and Tom Thibodeau. Not playing due to injury, two-time All-Star from the Washington Wizards, forward Caron Butler. Also not playing due to injury, the top vote-getter of NBA All-Star 2008, 11-time All-Star, forward from the Boston Celtics, Kevin Garnett. The head coach for the East from the Boston Celtics, Doc Rivers. Now let's meet the Eastern Conference All-Stars. Playing in his third All-Star game, guard from the Detroit Pistons, Chauncey Billups. Eight-time All-Star guard from the Boston Celtics, Ray Allen. Two-time All-Star from the Atlanta Hawks, guard Joe Johnson. Making his sixth All-Star appearance, forward from the Boston Celtics, Paul Pierce. Three-time All-Star guard from the Detroit Pistons, Richard Hamilton. In his second All-Star appearance, forward from the Washington Wizards, Antoine Jameson. And four-time All-Star from the Detroit Pistons, forward Rasheed Wallace. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Eastern Conference All-Star starters. Nine-time All-Star, point guard from the New Jersey Nets, Jason Kidd. In his fourth All-Star appearance, guard from the Miami Heat, Dwayne Wade. Making his first All-Star start and second All-Star appearance, Orlando Magic center, Dwight Superman Howard. Making his third All-Star appearance, forward from the Toronto Raptors, Chris Bosh. Playing in his fourth All-Star game, forward from the Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron James. One more round of applause for the Eastern Conference All-Stars. And now, let's greet the All-Stars from the West. The athletic trainer from the New Orleans Hornets, Terry Koffler. The assistant coaches from the New Orleans Hornets, Kenny Gaddison, Paul Pressey, and Darrell Walker. The head coach from the New Orleans Hornets, Byron Scott. Here are your Western Conference All-Stars. Named to his first All-Star game, the New Orleans Hornets guard, Chris Paul. Six-time All-Star guard from the Phoenix Suns, Steve Nash. Playing in his first All-Star game, guard for the Portland Trail Blazers, Brandon Roy. Also making his first All-Star appearance, forward from the New Orleans Hornets, David West. Two-time All-Star forward from the Utah Jazz, Carlos Boozer. Making his third All-Star appearance, center from the Phoenix Suns, Amare Stoudemire. seven-time All-Star forward from the Dallas Mavericks, Dirk Nowitzki. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Western Conference All-Star starters. At guard, nine-time All-Star from the Denver Nuggets, Allen Iverson. Making his 10th All-Star appearance, guard from the Los Angeles Lakers, Kobe Bryant. Six-time All-Star center from the Houston Rockets, Yao Ming. At forward, making his second All-Star appearance from the Denver Nuggets, Carmelo Anthony. And 10-time All-Star forward from the San Antonio Spurs, Tim Duncan. Ladies and gentlemen, the Western Conference All-Stars. Let's hear it for all the 2008 NBA All-Stars and the Rebirth Brass Band featuring Trombone Shorty and Kermit Ruffins. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the national anthems of Canada and the United States? Here to perform O Canada, please welcome the award-winning R&B vocalist from Toronto, Deborah Cox.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, thou art true, north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. I love you, New Orleans.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as we present the flags of nations representing all international players participating in NBA All-Star 2008. In honor of American Armed Forces, here is the presentation of the colors by members of the United States District 8 Coast Guard. Here to perform the Star-Spangled Banner, please welcome Branford Marsalis with New Orleans jazz vocalist Stephanie Jordan and Jonathan Dubose Jr. on guitar.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? That our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have one more round of applause for all our anthem performers, Deborah Cox, Jonathan Dubose Jr., Stephanie Jordan, and Branford Marsalis.
We are back in New Orleans, Louisiana for the 57th NBA All-Star Game. Once again, let's go to the public address voice of the New Orleans Hornets, Chuck Edwards.
Please welcome the New Orleans Hornets All-Stars, David West and Chris Paul.
What's up, New Orleans? Good evening, everyone. And on behalf of the All-Star teams, I want to thank all of you for supporting the NBA, but most importantly, thank you for supporting the New Orleans community.
Your commitment to this great city and the focus that has been on New Orleans this week has given us a tremendous boost, and we are very thankful for that.
As you have been able to see this week, New Orleans is definitely back to being a city that the world knows and loves. And I'm proud that we got to host this event. Thank you all for being here. New Orleans is a great town with wonderful people. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And it has been a terrific start for the Hornets, led by Chris Paul and David West. New Orleans at 36-15 on top in the West by percentage points over the Phoenix Suns. Right here, let's check out the starting lineup presented by McDonald's for the Eastern Conference. In the backcourt, Jason Kidd at the moment still wearing a Nets uniform with that trade to Dallas still on hold. Wayne Wade at the other guard spot. Up front, Chris Bosh of Toronto starting for the injured Kevin Garnett. The other East starters, LeBron James, and playing without his Superman cape tonight, Dwight Howard, who won last night's slam dunk competition with a dazzling performance. And now for the Western Conference. At the guards, last year's All-Star MVP Kobe Bryant, along with Allen Iverson, a 9-time All-Star. On the front line, Tim Duncan in his 10th All-Star game. Carmelo Anthony making his first All-Star start. And Yao Ming of the red-hot Houston Rockets. Now look at the officiating crew. Ed F. Rush in his 22nd season, his second All-Star game. David Jones, 19th year, and Michael Smith in his 15th. Jones and Smith making their first All-Star appearances. The East has won 34. The West has won 22. And last season, guys, the West won 153-132 in a shootout in Las Vegas.
Yeah, Doc Rivers was talking to us before the game, Marv, the coach of the East, and he said, I hope it's closer than 32 points at the end of the third quarter this year. He was talking about how his team was talking about last year being embarrassed, and he's hoping that that will be a little incentive for them to come out and play a lot better here today.
Well, it's challenging because when he went in and spoke with his players, all 12 wanted to play major minutes, so he's going to have his hands full trying to manage these superstars and the minutes they play.
Now, Doug, you coached the East All-Stars in Cleveland back in 1997, so you know how difficult it is to keep everyone happy in terms of playing time.
That's why you have your assistant coaches monitoring the minutes, and so what you want to do is make sure you get guys minutes. So getting into that, Marv, that 8 to 10 minute mark of the fourth quarter, you can play to win the game. So those assistant coaches, not about strategy today, but about keeping the minutes.
LeBron James trying to use the pick. Went to the look-away pass, and it's picked off by Tim Duncan.
This is always the challenging part of an All-Star game because you really don't get a proper time to warm up because the introductions are so long.
Well, Dwayne Wade getting ahead of the field for the first basket of the night. One-on-one move by Iverson going at Kidd and gives it up. Here is Duncan. And back comes LeBron James. Leads Dwight Howard, and he puts it down.
Woo, shades of last night. How about the young guy Dwight Howard last night, the show that he put on in the slam dunk competition?
Well, I'm just glad he finally brought back creativity to the dunk contest. It got stale for a little bit, but those were some unbelievable dunks by all the participants.
And Howard with the rejection of the 7'6" Yao Ming.
LeBron James, who I think is one of the better passers in the NBA. He has to score so many points for Cleveland, but the beautiful alley-oop, and then he follows it up with the block shots. That's what he brings the Orlando Magic, that defensive presence in the paint and his rebounding so vital to their success.
Here's Anthony. And back comes Kidd. Gives it up to Bosch. Jason Kidd with a nice setup, and Chris Bosch had the open lane.
Well, I know we're going to talk about this as the night goes on, but do you think Dirk Nowitzki is looking over there on the bench saying, I could be that trailer? He could be that trailer down on the break.
That's the first field goal for the West. Tim Duncan able to bank it home. And as discussed earlier on the pregame show, here's Bosch. The Jason Kidd to Dallas trade involving Devin Harris. And many others is still in limbo, still on hold. Anthony, yes.
Well, his game has grown so much. I think the last couple summers, his play for the U.S. national team and the job that George Karl has done with him, his game expanding. He and Allen Iverson, a terrific duo.
That's a three-point attempt missed by James. The steal by Howard gets it to Bosch.
And what I like about Dwight Howard, he's so quick off his feet for his size and his strength. He really gets up quick. That way, stealing the rebound away for Yao Ming, finding Chris Bosch for the dunk.
East with an 8-4 lead. We are just underway here at the New Orleans Arena. It's a fake by Yao, and it's broken up. Duncan is on it. Shot clock down to 6. Anthony, too strong. Here's Carmelo. Iverson puts behind the back and gets it back off the pass that was deflected, and a foul. It is a reach-in foul. It is on LeBron James. So Allen Iverson to the free throw line, averaging 26 a game, third in scoring behind LeBron and Kobe in his 9th All-Star game, and a 2-time All-Star MVP. And now Steve Nash coming on for Kobe Bryant.
It'll be interesting to see if Kobe plays anymore tonight. I know the Lakers really want him to take this time off and rest that hand. You know, every time he gets that hand hit, it's going to become so sore. He does not want to have the surgery during the season, but I know they did not want him playing out here today.
Kobe with the torn ligament on his right pinky finger. Here's Howard. And he will head to the line.
You know, I think every time Dwight Howard goes up, his head, it almost looks like his head is about ready to hit the rim. He's so explosive. He's so strong. All he needs is a little space. You see the pick and roll right here with LeBron James. And look how his head, and you got Tim Duncan weighing him down, who's at 250 himself, trying to weigh down Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard, the first overall pick in the draft back in 2004, having terrific season, 22 points, 14 rebounds, leads the NBA in rebounding. And guys, there was a point last week when Dwight's coach, Stan Van Gundy, felt that he was not focusing enough in terms of rebounding and defense. He was focusing too much on offense, and then Dwight got the message. Bounced back with 23 points, 24 rebounds, and a win over Denver this past Wednesday.
Well, I think he took to heed what his coach is saying. He needs to set the tone in that paint for the Orlando Magic. They have Turkoglu and Rashard Lewis out on that perimeter. They need him down in that paint.
Kidd trying to look away, that was deflected, recovered by Howard, trying to get it inside. Here's Kidd with the lob. Kidd finding LeBron James. And that is, let's see, David Jones says, no, last touched by the East.
Well, you know, Kenny was talking about in the rookie game, he had a dunk meter. He wanted to get to 53. I don't think we'll get nowhere near that. I can see in the rookie game where you get a lot of dunks because those guys really don't understand how to play yet. But these guys, he's a high flyer knack.
Eastern Conference with all 5 of its field goals on slam dunks. Here comes Kidd. He's looking to lead Dwayne Wade and misfired.
I love Jason Kidd and Steve Nash, though, because neither one of those guys have ever let a turnover affect them. I mean, they can get 6, 7, 8 turnovers in a game, and they'll make the next play in traffic trying to find a guy for an easy score.
Well, they also never seen a turnover they didn't like as well.
And James with the outlet. And the lay-in for Dwayne Wade.
How about Dwayne Wade? I mean, there's a champion 2 years ago in Miami who comes in here with the Miami Heat. They've lost 24 of their last 25 games. That's sort of incomprehensible that could happen.
Well, it's tough because he's playing in the Western or in the Eastern Conference where there's a lot of teams that you just think on a given night, if you show up, you can get a win. That's how struggled they are right now.
East with a 14-7 lead. Bosch spinning his way, rebounded by Duncan. Anthony with the back and move, gets it out to Duncan for 3. Whoa.
Well, he was in the shooting challenge with the team San Antonio that won. Where was that shooting today? He was knocking down the 3. Along with Becky Hammond and David Robinson winning the shooting challenge.
Bosch extending to the 16-7 lead. And again, a release to a man ahead of the field. This time it is Bosch. Well, it starts out in schoolyard style, as we have discussed throughout the week. And then second half, particularly fourth quarter, the game changes.
It's like a boxing match in the early rounds. Right now, you're just trying to feel your opponent. A few jabs here and there. No one's looking for the overhand right early Marvelous.
And as you say that, Reggie, we see the jab step move by Carmelo Anthony.
Well, that's the problem also, too, when you're like that. You want to have a little bit of tempo or rhythm. You don't want the game to be sloppy so early.
Yeah, it's one of the things you always talk about as a coach is let's not let the game get sloppy and have a lot of turnovers.
Let's check in with Craig Sager. Craig.
Well, Marv, a sigh of relief from L.A. Athletic trainer Gary Vitti of the Lakers had called the staff here and said, listen, do not listen to Kobe Bryant. Tape the two fingers together. Get him out of the game as soon as you can. Right now, he has it wrapped, has ice. He is definitely through for the evening. In an all-star game, the medical staff is shared by the East and the West. Here there are 4 representatives, 4 different teams. All 4 of those people said that Kobe Bryant should not be playing in this game, and if he was their player, he would not be. So it's very swollen, the injury perhaps more serious than Kobe wants us to believe.
So Kobe goes about 3 minutes and departs. Here is James for 3.
Well, you always want to err on the side of caution, but I'm just surprised Gary Vitti was able to get through on his cell phone. What about Mitch Kupchak? What about owner Jerry Buss? They don't have no cell phones here? The trainer's going to call?
With the voice of authority. Here is Anthony with the bucket. It counts. And the foul. Well, just under 6 remaining in this first quarter. And the East with an 18-9 lead.
The 2008 NBA All-Star Game, live from New Orleans, Louisiana, is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, official airline of the NBA. By Heineken, it's all about the beer. Heineken. By DirecTV, if you consider yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. And by Gatorade, every game needs a hero. Is it in you?
February's Black Love. Curtis, please don't ruin Black History Month. It's only 28 days.
Nominated for 3 NAACP Image Awards. Tyler Perry's House of Pain, Wednesday at 9 on TBS.
Welcome back to the All-Star Game. Let's catch you up to date on that proposed Jason Kidd trade. The 2 teams are discussing this trade tonight. It may not happen tonight, but there's a very good chance it could happen in the next 48 hours. Both sides feel like they're inching closer to getting this done, but it is not a done deal yet. The important thing now in this trade is that Jerry Stackhouse, who was in the earlier version of this trade, is not in this version of this trade. Right now, the main proponents are Devin Harris, Desana Diop, and 2 first-round picks. The issue, as you all may know, is whether Keith Van Horn, who has not played in the last year and a half, can come out of retirement, wants to come out of retirement, and play for the New Jersey Nets. He'll be offered a prorated amount of the $4 million that the team has offered him, and he has to decide whether he wants to play. He has a lot of businesses that he has now, and he's very comfortable where he is. But he does have great feelings for both the Mavericks and the Nets. He's played for both of those teams, and so he's got to decide whether he wants to do it or not. Let's go over to Craig Sager with Dirk Nowitzki.
Well, Dirk, now we're into plan B for this proposed trade. We talked to you last week, how excited you were to possibly play with Jason Kidd. Then you found out you weren't. Now it may be on again. What does this mean to you and the Dallas Mavericks if it is on?
Well, you know, I think I want to make sure that it's really on before I comment on it. I think this has been the weirdest week for everybody involved. So I want to hear it with my own ears that the deal went through, and then I'm more than happy to comment on it.
Have you talked to Jason Kidd this weekend, and if so, what was that conversation like?
Not more than ever. You know, I think you don't really see each other that much there. He's on the East team right now, but you know, just mingling and being friends, I guess.
Well, thanks for talking to us. You can report in now.
All right, thanks.
All right, Craig. Dirk does not want to be hit with a fine for tampering, so he's keeping his distance from Jason.
Also, too, Marv, I mean, so much things have been said already by both teams. You know, Dallas talking about how much they love to have Jason Kidd on the team, and the deal is not even done yet. So here's Paul Pierce loading up a 3, but I don't see how they cannot do this deal with all that's been said. I mean, how can these guys go back to their respective teams?
It's an 18-14 East lead. And the East now going with the 3 members of the Detroit Pistons. Fadeaway by Nash off the mark. Paul Pierce of the Boston Celtics on the floor, along with Antoine Jameson of the Washington Wizards. Iverson with the steal. And his teammate Carmelo Anthony draws the foul.
We're starting to see some of the combinations here that Doc Rivers talked about. He got the 3 Detroit Pistons player out there. He has Paul Pierce with them. He told us before the game he'd like to see those 4 guys play together.
Foul is called on Rasheed Wallace. And additional substitutions. Dirk Nowitzki, after finishing up his interview with Craig Sager, is able to check in along with Amari Stoudemire of the Phoenix Suns. Well, during the fourth quarter tonight, fans can vote for the All-Star Game MVP and enter to win a trip for two to the 2008 NBA Finals. Just log on to NBA.com or text the player's last name to 38657. 38657. And as you know, standard text messaging rates do apply at all times.
That's good to know.
Yes. Coming up on 4 minutes remaining in this first quarter, the East up by 3, the West in the midst of an 8-0 run. There's Billups. He went behind the back and banks it home.
Chauncey Billups, such a brilliant point guard. The reason that I pick Detroit coming out of the East, I think he's going to be the difference maker. I think he's playing at a level now when he was in the MVP of the finals. And when he and Rip Hamilton are on their game with Tayshaun Prince and Rasheed Wallace, you throw in the better bench now for Detroit. I think even as well as Boston is playing right now, you're going to have to go through the Pistons.
Well, the question mark is Rajon Rondo. And, speaking with Doc before the game, he was kind of aloof about, are they going to make a play before the trading deadline? Is there anything out there? As Allen Iverson comes up with the steal and tight ropes the sideline.
Almost had Stoudemire on that hook dunk. Here comes Billups. It counts in the foul committed by Nash.
Well, I agree with you, Coach, because Chauncey Billups, we know he's wins the ring right here. Rip Hamilton, his teammate rather in the fast break. If you're going to foul someone going to the hoop, you've got to give them a foul. Can't let them have one, even though this is a glorified pickup game. Can't give up easy ones, Coach.
Chauncey Billups, one of the best free throw shooters in the NBA, missing on that possible three-point play. He's a 90% foul shooter.
That's fifth best.
Little volleyball pass attempted by Iverson. And here comes Billups. He has Pierce on the wing. Goes the other way. Fouled his teammate Rip Hamilton. And you look at the Eastern Conference, 11 for 20 from the field, and they have 10 assists on the 11 field goals, 3 apiece for Jason Kidd and LeBron James. And off the turnover, the West gets it back. Nowitzki. Wallace with the rebound. Remember 2 years ago when Flip Saunders, the head coach of the Pistons, as Pierce able to knock it down, was coaching the East. He had 4 of his players on the All-Star team, and he put them in at the same time, and that was the best basketball we had seen in an All-Star game in some time. Here's Iverson. He had the step, gives it up. Stoudemire. Amari Stoudemire, and the East now leads 26-19.
Well, how much is he going to benefit when Shaq comes back, and we all are anticipating him coming back next Wednesday against that big matchup with the Lakers? The room's in the middle because Amari Stoudemire is going to go to his natural position, which is the power forward.
And a timeout has been called with 2:10 left in this first quarter. The East with a 26-19 lead here in the Big Easy. Better than 18,000 here at the New Orleans Arena, the home of the New Orleans Hornets, with 2 minutes 10 seconds remaining in this first quarter of the 57th NBA All-Star Game. A crowd that includes Terrell Owens, incidentally the MVP of Friday night's celebrity basketball game here in New Orleans. There is Ludacris, Alyssa Milano courtside, along with Gabrielle Union. And the governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, I know on Saturday, the governor was kind of eyeing Charles over here. Charles got a little nervous when we were calling the action. The governor being so close, he thought he was going to turn into the Terminator.
There's Pierce going high off glass. Paul Pierce in his 10th season out of Kansas, averaging better than 21 a game.
Yeah, he's a happy man this year with Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. He finally has pieces with them. I mean, last year went through a terrible year, 24 wins. He tried to carry the whole load of that team.
And Chris Paul who has had an outstanding season for the hometown Hornets, has come on along with that man who just scored, David West. And here's it from the crowd. David West from Xavier of Ohio in his 5th NBA season has emerged. Took him several years to reach this point, but he's averaging 20 points, 9 rebounds. There's Jamison for 3, one-handed by Wallace. Phillips with the step, and then was hit out of reach-in.
So I can relate, Marv, to a little bit to Chris Paul and David West. They're playing their first All-Star game here at home. I was able to do that as a Philadelphia 76er in the bicentennial year 1976, and what an incredible experience it was to be in the All-Star game, number one, but to play at home made it even that much more special.
And Byron Scott, the head coach of the West, telling us that there were butterflies on the part of Chris Paul.
I forgot to leave tickets for my family. They had to come out on the court and get the tickets. They were still in my locker, so I can really, I understand.
Byron saying when he stepped onto the court, talking of Chris Paul, he was nervous. He had not seen him like that. Nowitzki with his first bucket. And the East now leads 28-23. We're final minute of the opening quarter. Pierce, played by West, goes to the step back.
Brilliant one-on-one player. Late in the game especially, he loves to get on this wing and get on that baseline. So strong, excellent free throw shooter as Amari Stoudemire unloading the 3. Mike D'Antoni told us the other day he could be a good three-point shooter if he really wanted to get into the gym and continue to shoot those, Marv.
All right, here's Pierce finding the open man, Antoine Jamison.
Well, Antoine Jamison definitely, well, along with Caron Butler, Gilbert Arenas out for more than half the season, really has picked up the slack offensively for the Wizards.
And Butler out with that hip injury, replaced by Ray Allen on the All-Star squad. In fact, Ray had a planned vacation to the Bahamas that he canceled after getting the word last Wednesday night at halftime of the Celtic-Knick game in Boston. Says he was delighted to make the change of plans.
Bourbon Street, New Orleans, or Atlantis. Wow. I gotta, as much as I love the NBA, that hot sun, but this is great for Ray. People thought he initially should have been voted on as a reserve by the coaches because of the fantastic start the Celtics got off this year.
Well, the East will hold for final shot of this first quarter. We're down to 5 seconds. Rip Hamilton with 3 seconds to play in the quarter. Here comes Paul. They cut him off, and West had the ball slapped away. So that's the end of one, with the East leading the West 34-28. Hot shooting start for the East, 16 of 29 at 55%. Capsule look at what has taken place as we head to the second quarter. Aerial coverage being brought to you by Goodyear. Get there on triple tread technology. Moments ago, David Aldridge talked with the head coach of the East, Doc Rivers.
Doc, we had a first quarter. You said that they had a little bit of pride and they wanted to play a little better than they did last year, and they did.
Yeah, they did. You can see they want to push the ball up, the pace. Obviously, we want to slow the ball down for Yao and Tim, so that would be very smart. You know, we were trying to figure out how can you have a bad option on a play when you coach a team like this.
How much fun is this for you after the season last year, getting back and having an opportunity to play with this great team and coach this team?
It's great. I mean, obviously, you know, you look at last year and this year, it's about players, though. When you get players to give any coach a chance, and I'm just having a good time.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
I think one of the great stories here is when you talk about Doc Rivers and Byron Scott, Jason Kidd on this drive. James not able to finish, and now here is Howard with a follow-up. But Marv, just to finish it up, you think of coaches, when a coach goes through an 18-64 year and a couple losing seasons like Byron Scott did, very seldom do you get a chance to stay and get the fruits of your labor. They've been able to do that here in New Orleans now, and you see Doc Rivers, a terrific player, played in the 88 All-Star game, but for him to take the losses for 3 years there in Boston, and for Danny Ainge to recognize that he didn't have a team he could win with, and he had a terrific coach. So they stayed with those two guys, and here they are, both coaching the All-Star game today. I think that says a lot about both of these organizations.
And Brandon Roy of the Portland Trailblazers, who just checked in, is able to hit the jumper. Yes, Doc in his 4th season as head coach in Boston and coaching in his very first All-Star game. Joe Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks and Ray Allen of the Boston Celtics have come on. Jason Kidd back on the floor, able to knock it down. So the East with a 38-32 lead. Once again, Brandon Roy.
Well, he's done double duty. He had to play in the Rookie-Sophomore Challenge on Friday, putting up pretty good numbers and being voted to his first All-Star game. This has to be a big thrill for him.
Brandon, last year's Rookie of the Year. Here is James, rebounded by Roy. The Trailblazers struggled recently, but they've been one of the surprise teams of the season, a record of 28-24. Back comes LeBron James. Kidd with the look away to James. He was so surprised there was no one around him. He hesitated for a moment.
There's not a lot of defense being played out here, Marv. I'm sure if he was surprised that someone was going to come around and block his shot.
Ray Allen misfired, rebounded by Roy. We are early in the second. Marv Albert, Doug Collins, and Reggie Miller. And David West with the wide open shot.
Now, Chris Paul, what a great player to watch. How about the other night, the double overtime game in Phoenix? He had 42 points in that game with a long jump shot by Joe Johnson. But a stat on New Orleans, the last 2 years in overtime, they are 13-0. They get into overtime, they can't lose.
It's amazing they played that many overtime games.
Yeah.
7-point lead for the East. They've led by as many as 11. Here's Roy.
Well, you listen to Byron Scott, and he's saying that Chris Paul might be the closest guy to Isaiah Thomas when it comes to toughness, as Ray Allen knocked down another 3. With that toughness, he's not going to take anything. He's a great floor general, and for his size, he's a really great leader.
Nowitzki, played by Kidd, which is an interesting matchup at this point.
Could be practice.
Yes. And a foul is called as Howard tried to close out on Stoudemire. Made contacts at Dwight Howard with his first, and Amari Stoudemire will head to the line. East up by 8 points. As we take a look at the Western Conference standings, New Orleans percentage points in front of Phoenix. Lakers just a game and a half back, followed by red-hot Utah, San Antonio, Dallas, Golden State, and Denver. Houston is right there. They've been on a tear with 8 straight wins, so only 4.5 games separating teams 8 and 9 with the leaders.
Yeah, a 5-game swoon in the West. You could go from 1st to 8th. So you better be very consistent in this 30-game sprint we have to the finish and going into the playoffs.
Johnson back to 3-point territory. Carlos Boozer with the rebound. He just came on.
Coach, that's why I am in favor of the top 16 teams playing for the playoffs. Best records, no matter of conference.
Reggie always gets a pop in for that theory. It never fails.
Well, we know this is a guard-oriented game. Joe Johnson knocked down the 3. And here you see Ray Allen, one of the best 3-point shooters in the game. Could have used him in the 3-point shooting competition last night.
Dang, girl. You might as well stand up there and sing the other one, too. Go, boy. Have a good one. Have a good one.
Might be the last time.
Thanks, Timmy.
It might be.
Quit hacking.
said. Stop hacking. That's not right.
Great little interchange there. Tim Walsh, the trainer for the East, as he was giving the rosin to Jason Kidd, he said this might be the last time, in reference to the fact that if Jason Kidd does go to Dallas, that that little exchange they had before the game would not happen again. It's a little lighthearted moment there.
Well, it's lighthearted for them. What do you think Devin Harris is at home watching this game saying, it's not lighthearted on my end?
Yeah, it's tough. We forget about uprooting people and changing places and stuff. It's not easy with families.
Chris Paul able to knock it down. Here's it from the crowd. The East now by 5. The trainer for the Eastern Conference, Tim Walsh, also the trainer for the Nets. His Kid fires away. Came up short on that three-point attempt.
I think he put some stickum on his hands there instead of rosin.
Well, Byron Scott and Doc Rivers have used the entire roster with 4 minutes gone by in this second quarter. And a reach and foul is called on Joe Johnson. Let's check in with Craig.
Well, Kobe, everybody wanted to know, once you came out, if you're out for good, we saw him wrap your hand, put ice on your knees. How difficult is it for you to say you're not playing anymore this day?
It's very difficult. You know, everybody was, all my friends here were talking trash to me, saying once the game gets going, you know, it's going to be tough for you to sit down. But, you know, I want to play. I desperately want to play, but you also have an obligation to the franchise. So
you look at this warm-up and you see all the patches from your previous All-Star games. It's hard to believe that this is your 10th All-Star game.
I know. It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. It's been a great experience.
You remember your first one?
New York City. New York City. That was it was a lot of fun, and I was extremely nervous till Kevin threw me that lob, and then my jitters went away.
We reported earlier tonight that it appears the Jason Kidd trade will go through. He will go back to Dallas. What are your thoughts in this West and how everybody's trying to keep up, maybe with the Paul Gasol trade and the Shaq trade and everything's going on?
Well, I think it makes the game more interesting. And, you know, the Western Conference is tough to begin with. I mean, you're talking about two teams who, you know, Phoenix has, you know, won 60 games, Dallas won 67 games, and they're doing nothing but get better. So it makes the West extremely competitive.
Well, good luck. Let's hope you don't get hurt again.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys. That counts as a foul. LeBron James going glass for his 3rd field goal, and he will head to the line.
He's a one-man fast break. When he gets ahead of steam up, you're not going to stop him. He's so strong. There you see, takes the hit and just the concentration, get it off the glass, a chance for a 3-point play.
Foul committed by David West. Kobe Bryant of the Lakers will get back into action on Wednesday against the Phoenix Suns, with the possibility of Shaquille O'Neal making his Suns debut against one of his former teams. The Lakers, how do you guys feel about the Shaq trade to Phoenix? Can he fit in with the Suns style? There's a rainbow attempt, and then it's put down. Well, followed by Dwight Howard. And that gets the crowd going. Chris Paul with his 6th assist. Frantic action here in the second quarter. A 55-50 lead for the East. Here's Allen for 3. And it's played by Paul. He lost it. And James flips it up and puts it down.
You remember those days, Coach?
Oh.
Do you remember those days?
It's a slam dunk festival here. James, this time, puts it up in the air for Howard. That's 12 points for Dwight Howard. With 6 minutes remaining in this first half, it's a 9-point Eastern Conference lead.
I think all that's missing now is the cape that he broke out last night in the dunk contest. Drove everyone crazy.
Here's Paul for 3, yes.
Much improved 3-point shooter. Used to be he would shoot all those floaters in the lane. Now if you go under those screen rows, he'll pull back and knock those threes down against you.
James from way downtown.
So that's where he's so improved. His balance is so much better on his shot. He's paid attention to detail. He really works on that shot with Chris Gent every day, one of the assistant coaches in Cleveland.
And LeBron putting up a very nice stat line. Boozer fires away. LeBron 12 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. Interception by Paul, and he goes off the backboard for Roy. And then Kidd back. Little defense being shown here. Jason not able to hang on. It's deflected out of bounds. The rest of the East squad remained in their front court.
Howard to LeBron. How about this pass? These two guys play together in the summer of the U.S. national team, and turnabout is fair play. You do it for me, I'm bringing it back to you. And the East bench absolutely loves this kind of action. Look at Kevin Garnett. You think he wants to be out there?
The 2008 NBA All-Star Game, live from New Orleans, Louisiana, is brought to you by Lincoln, Reach Higher, and by T-Mobile, the official wireless partner of the NBA.
We are back in the Crescent City, and tonight's Collins Look Ahead is being presented by Heineken.
Marv, we've talked about the West here and all that's going on, but will 9 teams win 50-plus games? They're on pace to do that. And if so, it'll be the first time ever that a 50-win team did not make the playoffs. So we'll have to keep our eye. That's the competitive West. How about the rumblings in the Pacific? Shaq now in Phoenix. Pau Gasol in Los Angeles. Sacramento just trades Mike Bibby to Atlanta. Is Ron Artest next? Are the Clips going to start unloading some guys maybe to go to contending teams? And then can the Spurs finally repeat? 4 titles in 9 years, but they've never put the stamp with a back-to-back. Will this be the year?
You pose many compelling questions.
To be answered soon.
Yes.
They do have to play the games.
5 minutes to play here in this first half, and Bosch coming over the top of Boozer. Call for the foul. So LeBron James leading the way, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. And Dwight Howard, who had a sensational night last night in the slam dunk competition. 12 points. He's hit all 5 of his shots, all of the dunk variety. And how about Chris Paul, 3 of 4 from the field, 7 points and 6 assists.
And Mark, really, when you look at the difference in the game right now, it's turnovers. The West, 18 points on 12 turnovers. And that's the whole key. That's the difference in the game. That's why the East has been able to take advantage.
Well, I like Dwight Howard. I think coming off that slam dunk competition, maybe it was a shot in the arm. Obviously, all the criticism from his coach, and rightfully so. There's nothing wrong with the coach coaching. That's what he's supposed to do. He's a young player. He's established himself in the league. Stan Van Gundy gets on a little bit. He comes out and responds, 24 points, 23 rebounds. He is one of the new faces of this league.
And perhaps one of the most creative players in the NBA.
That was one of the most creative dunk contests ever. Maybe since 1988 when Dominique Wilkins and Jordan had that battle in Chicago. Some of the dunks, I mean, Rudy Gay going to YouTube. That's not creative. You're getting help when you go to YouTube. I wasn't a big fan of that right there.
How about Gerald Green with the cupcake on the rim? That's pretty good, but here's Superman. Last night, Dwight Howard winning the Sprite Rising Stars Slam Dunk with a very impressive array. And he was named the champ after defeating Gerald Green.
I'm not quite sure that's necessarily a dunk. That's more of like a throw-in. That's how high he was. He threw it in as opposed to dunking. I remember when he took off his jersey and the cape was there, I looked around the arena. David Stern was standing up, screaming. So you know the level of excitement was high when you've got the commissioner standing on his feet.
The commissioner was screaming.
He was screaming. The commissioner was screaming. I've never seen it before.
62-55, the East with the lead. They've led all the way. They've led by as many as 7. Little weave going on here. The shot clock is actually down to 6. Iverson. And here is Royce, have the hot hand, not that time. And Wade with the outlet, but overthrows Hamilton. So the ball back to the West. East actually playing some defense during this sequence.
Well, you've got 3 Pistons on the floor right here, and we know that that has been their moniker for the last few years. His defense gets it done.
Bosch able to haul down the rebound. And here's Wade. He got the step. Wayne Wade of the Miami Heat extends to a 9-point East lead. Iverson finding Anthony. Facing a double team momentarily. Goes to the fade. And another rebound for Bosch. Wallace for three.
He shot that one left-handed.
It's funny, Coach. You proposed the situation. You said if Rasheed Wallace shot left-handed against Chris Bosh, Rasheed would win. Is that correct?
That's not
in a game of force.
That's not anything against Chris Bosh. That's just incredible how Rasheed Wallace can shoot with his offhand.
I'd like to see that.
Iverson. That was intended for Roy. So the ball back to the east, but first a timeout with 2:39 remaining in the first half. All right, watch this. Rasheed Wallace switching off to the southpaw style.
Welcome back to New Orleans, where the East leads the West 64-57 in the 2008 NBA All-Star Game. The NBA cares about its community. The NBA Cares Community Caravan tipped off a week of community service events in New Orleans, including reading rallies, fitness clinics, hospital visits, and new basketball court dedications. The highlight of the week was the mobilization of more than 2,500 members of the NBA family, including All-Stars, rebuilding together, Habitat for Humanity, and other organizations to build homes, neighborhoods, and assist families in taking the final steps on their long journey home. The NBA, where caring happens. Marv, this team is trying to get its attendance back up as the city gets back on its feet. They're starting to get more sellouts down here, and they think they'll have even more of them the second half as this team goes towards the playoffs.
All right, thanks, David. Yes, the Hornets have extended their commitment to this city, to the arena, until 2014. They negotiated an opt-out clause after the 08-09 season as Hamilton knocks it down. If the team does not average 14,700 paid fans from December the 1st, 2007 through next season, but they're averaging about 12.6 a game. Obviously tough to sell tickets here due to the economic conditions, but the crowds have picked up in recent games. Nowitzki with the jumper, and the Hornets owner, George Shinn, says he would first try to renegotiate the lease rather than leave. And what a season it's been for the New Orleans Hornets on top of the Western Conference. Wade had it slapped away, stripped by Anthony.
Well, I think Marvy also said, you know, he's tired of moving, and went Charlotte to New Orleans, and New Orleans to Oklahoma City back here. You know, they want to establish a base here. They have a terrific young team, and let's hope that they can find a way to stay here.
Here's Bosh with the shot clock rolling down. Kept alive by Wade. Hamilton on the quick release. Rebounded by Roy. Minute and a half to go in this first half. Boozer. It's a 6-point East lead.
How about the Utah Jazz? After a horrible December, they could not close out any games. Here's Rasheed once again with that long left-handed three. But Utah really struggled in December, couldn't close any teams out, lost some big leads in the fourth quarter. Since they've had Kyle Korver, they have turned it, and Marv, they're playing great ball now.
They have won 16 of their last 18. The record is now 34-19. Iverson from straight away, and Bosh knocked it aside. Anthony banks it home. Here's the lead out for Wade with Nowitzki back. Oh, nice move by Dwayne Wade.
Well, it looked like he was in the finals right there going against Dallas right there when they won just 2 years ago. And I agree with you, Coach. This has to be frustrating for Dwayne Wade. A guy that's as much of a competitor as he is, it's got to be tough.
All right, during the fourth quarter, as we mentioned earlier, fans will be able to vote for the All-Star Game MVP and enter to win a trip for two to the 2008 NBA Finals. Just log on to NBA.com or text the player's last name to 38657. 38657. Boozer comes up short, and it is through the hands of Wade, so the West maintains possession.
You know, when you watch Brandon Roy play, he doesn't jump out at you like ultra quick, ultra fast, great leaper, but he gets to where he wants to get on the floor, and he does it easily. He really plays with a great tempo.
Brandon Roy in his first ever All-Star game as Boozer is able to score to cut it back to 7.
Well, he plays under control because he stayed in school for 4 years. He was well coached. He understands the games, the fundamentals. He knows how to play with other players. No knock on the younger players, but he's been in a system where he was well coached at a young age.
Beautiful backdoor pass. Wade able to combine with Hamilton. Final seconds of the half. 9-point lead for the Eastern Conference. Boozer. And time has run out. We are halftime of the 57th NBA All-Star Game. The East with the lead throughout, and they're up 74-65. High Point man LeBron James, who has been outstanding with 12 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. Dwight Howard, 5 of 5 from the field. And all have been dunks. 12 points for Howard, along with 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Brandon Roy has had the hot hand, and he leads the West with 11, shooting 5 for 7 from the field. 10 apiece for Stoudemire and Anthony. And from the New Orleans Hornets, Chris Paul with 7 points and 6 assists. Let's go to Craig Sager. Craig.
Well, last night, just a spectacular performance to win the Sprite Slam Dunk Championships, but it's continuing here tonight with 5 more dunks. How have you guys been able to go up and down the court so easily and dominate this first half?
Well, I think the only way we're going to beat the West is if we run them. You know, they got a lot of big guys, you know, so we're just going to try to run them the whole game.
You had the biggest ovation during introductions besides the 2 players from New Orleans. What was your phone like? How many messages did you get last night after winning the slam dunk?
It was crazy. My phone, it was off the hook the whole night, you know, but I'm glad that I got the victory, and I thank the fans for it.
You and LeBron James working so closely together on these alley-oops to each other. How much fun is it playing with guys as good as you are, perhaps better?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. It's just like playing USA basketball all over again, you know, so I'm glad to be out here.
All right, great first half. Dwight Howard leading the East at the halftime. We'll take a short break when we come back. The T-Mobile Halftime Report with a live performance by Harry Connick Jr. and his big band.
Welcome back to the New Orleans Arena in the Big Easy as we get set for the start of play in the second half. 9-point lead for the East over the West. Tonight's game being broadcast to our troops around the world on the American Forces Network. Marv Albert along with Reggie Miller, Doug Collins, Craig Sager, David Aldridge working the sideline. Of the highlight of the first half was about a 2-minute spree that took place in the second quarter. Just incredible end-to-end action.
Well, in all-star games, you're always going to get that up and down play, but Dwight Howard here with the vantage point comes up with the steal right here, does the right thing, get it to his guards, the moon alley-oop to LeBron James, to Superman himself, Dwight Howard with the finish, 5 for 5, 12 points.
Our vantage point, camera vantage point in theaters on Friday, we should point out. On the pregame, Doug, you were talking about LeBron James, and as it turns out, he goes out and puts together a stat line which has him, I would think, as the early line favorite for MVP honors.
Well, Marv, I think in a game like this, people really get a chance to see what a great passer LeBron James is. I mean, he has to average 31 points a night for Cleveland, but with this group of guys, you see the touch pass. He's so strong, and he's so tall. He sees over defenses, soft. And what just bounce pass here between 2 defenders for the easy score, 7 assists for LeBron James. And really, that's the difference in the game. The points off the turnovers and the fast breaks way in favor of the Eastern Conference.
And a look at tonight's Jeep game summary. Terrific shooting by both teams. The East at 33 of 57 for the 58%. The West 28 of 52 at 54. How about 19 attempts from three-point land for the East? 11 dunks for the East.
Well, if I'm Byron Scott, I got to start searching for some trades on my teams. They're really not getting the job done here. Only 1 point in fast break points. he's got to shuffle this up a little bit. I got to look for trades here. Oh, it's an all-star game, right? You can't trade anybody?
Well, but in fairness, Tim Duncan played 8 minutes in the first half, and Yao Ming played 8, and he probably won't play much more this second half. So the big guys, the advantage of the West really was neutralized by the East being able to get out and get in that open court.
Reggie very quick on the trigger. Get rid of these guys.
Get rid of these guys.
All right, third quarter underway, and there's the bowl-like pass from Kidd. Wade with the reverse, yes, and the foul. So Dwayne Wade will go to the line. Wade now with 10 points.
Michael Jordan made this shot famous, Coach. You coached him for so many years when he was going to the hole with the little flip over the top of the shoulder right there. You feel the contact, you turn your body, you use the glass.
Nash going for the steal and picks up a second. No, it was deflected out by Wade. Iverson for Duncan, and the pass knocked aside. Let's go to Craig Sager.
Well, following up on what Reggie was talking about with Byron Scott, I asked Byron who in that locker room wants to make this competitive and not just entertaining. He said Allen Iverson spoke in the locker room, said this is ridiculous. We're getting run off the court. We're not getting back. It's 21-1 in our fast break points off turnovers. He says we want to win this game. Let's go out there and let's not embarrass ourselves. So AI, the answer for you, Reggie.
Well, AI has also got 6 turnovers in the first half, so he has to clean up his game a little bit as well.
Kind of critical there, Coach.
Well, no. I always say if a guy's going to speak, I love that. But, you got to throw yourself into the heat there if you're part of the problem.
Meanwhile, the East has equaled its biggest lead of the night, led by as many as 11 earlier in the first half. Yao stepping back for a 3. Well, Yao Ming enjoyed that. And Carmelo Anthony now with 12 points.
Well, I know there's one guy over there on the bench who's not going to play in this second half. Triple Ocho, Kobe Bryant. Like I said, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. In these All-Star games, those guys, as LeBron James knocks down another 3, Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson were the best tone-setting players in these All-Star games. And you can add Kobe to that list because it doesn't matter who's on the floor. He's going to play 100% all the time.
Allen Iverson coming right back, and we're told that Kobe Bryant is back in the locker room, so did not even come out for the second half. Checking the stats, we saw Yao Ming a moment ago attempt that 3-pointer during the regular season, and I would think that they were forced shots with the clock running down. He attempted only 2 from beyond the 3-point line. The East up by 10. Kidd finding Bosch, and he was stripped. And here's Iverson giving it up to Nash.
A little bit of that running game, Reg, you talked about. Now with Steve Nash and Iverson and Carmelo out there, they can get into more of that attack.
Bosch. And punched out to Iverson. Iverson and Nash in the backcourt now for the West. Nice pass, but Duncan blows the stuff. And Kidd looking for Bosch to his right. And that pass from James picked off. Here's Anthony. The West within 6. Carmelo Anthony has 14 points.
It was kind of interesting listening to Dwight Howard talk to Craig Sager right before half, saying they have to run with the West. And we know the West has so many athletic runners with Steve Nash as Dwight Howard with yet another dunk. And it's kind of surprising they want to run with the West, who's known for running. The East really not.
Howard now with 14 points. 6 of 6 from the field. Here's the lob. Almost put down on the follow by LeBron James.
But when you look at the makeup of the West team, Reggie, they got big guys. Look, they got Yao Ming, they got Tim Duncan, Carlos Boozer, Dirk Nowitzki. Here's a replay where LeBron missed. So they've got a lot of big guys. David West, where the East is a very small lineup.
Yao Ming with a nice move, and he draws the foul. The West with Tim Duncan, Carmelo Anthony, Yao Ming on the front line with Allen Iverson and Steve Nash in the backcourt. And the foul is called on Howard, his second.
He has terrific footwork for a big guy. You know, you think about Reggie, you talk about all the teams that love to run in the Western Conference, but I mean, how hard it is for this man every single night to run up and down the floor and keep pace in the Western Conference. I have such admiration for him. Anytime you've talked to anybody who's coached him or, you know, been around him, his work ethic, what a great teammate he is. He's a big part of Houston playing much better basketball now.
Yes, the Rockets have won their last 8. They're 32-20 as they vie for a playoff spot, just 4.5 behind the Hornets and the Suns. Bosh keeps it alive and fires one up and hits. Chris Bosh of the Toronto Raptors extending to an 8-point East lead. The kid stepping away, challenging Iverson to take the shot. And now he does, and he scores.
Allen Iverson is a competitor. You know, I think about the 3 strong-willed guys in this league: Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, who's injured for tonight's game, and Allen Iverson. You know what you're going to get from those 3 guys night in and night out. Is Dwayne Wade with the turnaround fadeaway. Those 3 guys probably play the hardest. Hurt.
And Iverson just hates to leave the court. Leads the NBA in minutes played. James, oh, what a move.
You know how hard that shot was? I mean, he drifted 7 feet in the air from where he caught that ball, and has such great leg streaks, he was able to square his shoulders to the basket. What a shot.
And again, Yao looking for the three-pointer, and way off. Perhaps he will retire the three-point shot. Here's the lob, and James, once again, he now has 19 along with 8 rebounds and 8 assists.
Well, it didn't take Yao Ming long to get into the spirit of the game, stepping out behind the three-point line.
Well, he saw dirt at the three-point competition and said, look, that's a 7-footer that can knock him down from long range. Why can't I?
Anthony had it stolen by Kidd. Kidd for Bosh.
What a beautiful passing touch. The guy just threads the needle, and more importantly, Mark, when he does that, he gets it right to his shooter when he can do something with it. He doesn't handcuff you with the pass.
Jason Kidd now with 6 assists. Steve Nash. So that ends an 8-0 run by the East. Here's Wade going at Nash. Lost the handle and then able to recover to get it to Bosh. Rebound Yao Ming. Here's Iverson with Kidd back. Goes right at him. And Anthony not able to control.
Watch this fadeaway by LeBron. Now look where he takes off, and look how far he drifts. Look at his shoulders get square to the target. Beautiful rotation. He knocks the shot down, and this one he just goes up and beautifully just drops the ball in the basket. LeBron James is the West tried to make a little push, a couple back-to-back baskets to continue to give them a 12-point lead.
And substitutions. Joe Johnson of the Hawks checks in along with a couple of Celtics. Paul Pierce and Ray Allen. Just under 6.5 to play in this third quarter. The East up 91-79. Looked like one of the substitutions was waived as Rasheed Wallace and Antoine Jameson also trying to come in, and Bosh went to the bench and was called back. Pierce trying to use the pick. Now the lob, and Bosh scores again. 14 points for Bosh. On the turnover, here's Allen. Little hesitation move, yes, and it counts. Ray Allen will head to the line.
Well, to the delight of Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen coming up with the steal. Keeps the ball in transition with the little fake behind the back. Gets into the teeth of the defense. Chance to go to the line and one.
And to the delight of Paul Pierce, when they got the 5th pick in the draft, they knew they couldn't get a young player to keep rebuilding. They get Ray Allen, and then that excites Kevin Garnett to go to Boston with a trade for Al Jefferson, a terrific young player, and the expiring contract of Theo Ratliff. So how quickly things change for Boston around draft time.
Nash, yes. 95-81. The East on top. They have led all the way. Marv Albert, Reggie Miller, Doug Collins, We're in New Orleans. Pierce trying to reach in on Nash for the dribble. Carlos Boozer back on the floor, played by Rasheed Wallace, and Boozer from deep.
That's a little bit out of his range. Carlos, a terrific shooter up to about 18 feet. That was 2 steps behind that.
Boozer now has 10. Here's Chris Paul who just checked back in. You saw the behind-the-back maneuver. And now he delivers to Carmelo Anthony.
And this is where Chris Paul is at his best. When you get him in the open court where he has vision and he has finishers like Carmelo Anthony. For the Hornets, the best record in the West.
Allen with that quick release for 3.
The second best three-point shooter in the history of the NBA. And Marv, we're sitting by the best.
Yes. Carmelo Anthony lays it home.
Shameless plug, coach. Shameless plug. But thank you.
I got to take care of my man.
11-point East lead. Wallace attempting the 3. So the ball back to the West. It's 24 three-point attempts from the Eastern Conference. Nice moves by Chris Paul of the hometown New Orleans Hornets, and picks up another assist. Guys, a programming reminder, national coverage of the NBA continues Wednesday on ESPN. It's the Lakers and the Suns. Perhaps we'll see Shaq's debut as a member of the Suns. And Thursday on TNT, the Heat and the Rockets, followed by the Sonics and the Blazers. Coverage beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And now tonight's Collins Look Ahead, presented by Heineken. Earlier we heard from you regarding the West, now the East.
Well, will the Pistons continue to trust their bench? All the starters' minutes are down. Bench points up over 30 a game over the last 10 games. They've won all of those. One of the areas they've been really struggling with since they won the championship is getting the better bench. Is 4 through 12 good enough in Boston? Are they going to add another player before the deadline? And mediocrity rules. Only 5 teams above 500 this season. Still a lot of teams in the hunt. Atlanta makes the deal for Mike Bibby, hoping that he can get them into the playoffs.
All right, here is Boozer as we resume, and it's rebounded by Allen. We were talking about it the other night in our Dallas Phoenix telecast. In the East, if a team has a night off, there's a good chance they can pick up ground, which is unfortunate.
They go from 10th to 7th.
It's funny. Byron Scott said, I saw a team lose 2 games in a row and picked up a game.
That too, yes. David West blocked by Rasheed Wallace. West blocked now by Antoine Jamison. West blocked by Rasheed Wallace.
Can't you get a home whistle?
You're not kidding me.
But it's the hat trick, unfortunately, for David West, who was trying to get the shot off, and they were contesting.
Well, David West right here, look like he's in the land of the Giants right here. You would think first inaugural game here on the home court, he would get a call underneath. And then at the other end, they just shoved Chris Paul into the partition. Where's the love for the hometown guys?
Ball goes back to the West, 3.5 to play in this third quarter. The East up by 11. Here's Nash racing and able to score. Steve Nash has come on. He now has 8 points.
Razzle dazzle. Now you got Paul and Nash out there together. Just don't blink if you're the Eastern Conference, because the passes are going to be whizzing up the floor. The West has gone to a smaller lineup, trying to work themselves back into this game with some speed.
And the West showing some defense. The ball slapped away from Pierce and last touched by Pierce. There's Paul with a nice move. Nash, 3-guard alignment now being utilized by Byron Scott. West again gets inside, and this time able to lay it in. So the Eastern Conference lead is down to 7. Wallace for 3. Brandon Roy on the rebound. Paul, Roy, and Nash, 3 guards on the floor. Nash delivers. Nice play as he gets it to Boozer.
And it's being set up perfectly here for the fourth quarter. The last 8 or 10 minutes, this game is going to be in the balance.
9 assists now for Paul. Oh, a little flip shot, a reverse by Ray Allen. It's a 14-5 run here by the West. Allen with the steal. Try to put a move on Paul. Allen and Johnson now in the backcourt with Pierce, Jamison, and Wallace up front. Here's Allen to the rim. 102-93, the East with the lead. Nash. Paul passed out of 3. Nash for 3. Rebounded by Paul, gets it right back. Now Paul from downtown. Rebounded by Pierce.
Well, Coach, you talked about the challenges setting up for the fourth quarter. It's going to be a challenge for Doc Rivers and as well as Byron Scott for the minutes. Who's he going to go with in the fourth quarter?
East now leads at 104-93, and a 20-second timeout is called by the West. Now they extend to a full timeout. We'll be back to New Orleans in a moment.
The 2008 NBA All-Star Game, live from New Orleans, Louisiana, is brought to you by the United States Marine Corps, the few, the proud, the Marines, and by Jordan. Become legendary.
All day President's Day. Watch 13 back-to-back episodes of Law & Order that will keep you guessing. Get the guy. Game is over. Starting Monday at 10 a.m. on TNT.
All right, it's time now for the somewhat entertaining and educational segment titled Reggie's Remarks, presented by AT&T.
Well, you know, there's so much history that goes into this All-Star game. You know, Kobe Bryant only played 3 minutes. Allen Iverson, they're both going for their 3-time MVP in the All-Star game. Which player has the most All-Star hardware? Here in the attendance, Bob Pettit, 4.
Didn't even give us a chance to think about it. There's Bob, Hall of Famer. Come right back with the answer.
Right back.
He didn't give us a chance, right? I mean, it's like he know we saw his
y'all
cheating.
Y'all are cheating over here.
Better to cheat than repeats. What I used to say.
Our statistician Paul Evans points out Bob Pettit in the 1956 NBA All-Star game had a pretty fair night. 20 points, 24 rebounds. That game played up in Rochester, New York. Nice pass. Boozer unable to hit. And back comes Pierce. Here is Allen with no hesitation from downtown. Well, the West went on a 14-3 run. The East coming back with 6 unanswered. And in this final minute of the third, the East back up by 11. Wallace wanting more room on the inbounds from Boozer. Joe Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks. Rasheed Wallace. See, things have tightened up a bit here in the third quarter. Here's Pierce on a fadeaway.
That's where he loves to operate on that baseline. If you let him get those shoulders on that baseline, he gets to the foul line, and he is tough to handle in the fourth quarter.
Dirk Nowitzki back on the floor. Chris Paul at the point. Paul and Roy at the guards. Nowitzki, West, and Boozer up front. Boozer, West keeps it alive, and then handled by Pierce.
Coach, when you coached this All-Star event, how many plays did you put in, really?
An inbounds play on the side underneath the basket, and if if you didn't have a fast break, maybe a little single double action, some pick and roll, just those kind of things.
Final seconds of the third. Pierce for 3. Well, the last 13 points for the East scored by the Boston Celtics. 9 for Ray Allen, 4 for Paul Pierce. As we head to the fourth, the East with a 13-point lead. Back in the Big Easy, a look at downtown New Orleans. And Ariel's coverage being brought to you by Goodyear. Get there on triple tread technology. Well, during our commercial break, Craig Sager talked with the head coach of the West, Byron Scott.
Well, Byron, he got back into the game going to that small lineup with the 3 guards, Steve Nash, Chris Paul, Brandon Roy, but now it's up to 13 again.
Yeah.
What are you doing in the fourth quarter?
Well, you know what? It depends on how close the game is. You know, I want to get Timmy back in there and Big Yao back in there, but we got to make a little bit of a run here. You know, we got to do a better job on the transition part of basketball as far as getting back and not allowing these guys to get these easy buckets.
How important is it for these guys to win this game?
Well, they feel it's important. You know, they had a pretty good win last season. They want to try to keep it going. So, you know, the last thing they've been saying on the bench the last couple of timeouts is, hey, you know, let's go ahead and win this thing. So we'll see how this fourth quarter goes.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, Byron looking to get Yao Ming back in there for that 3-point touch. Byron Scott, head coach of the surprising hometown New Orleans Hornets. At one point, they won 9 in a row, 12 of 14 in the month of January. Coaching in his second All-Star game as head coach of the Nets. He handled the East squad back in 2002 in Philadelphia, game won by the West with Kobe Bryant capturing MVP honors. Fourth quarter is underway, and Reggie and Doug, both you guys with connections to Byron Scott.
Yeah, we acquired Byron in December of 1993, the Pacers did. He played 67 games, averaged 10 points. I think he'll be more remembered as Chris Paul knocks down a 15-footer. He'll be more remembered by that huge shot he made in Game 1 against Orlando, and we went on to beat Orlando. We had never won a playoff series before, but more importantly, he gave us belief that we could win. You know, he brought championship experience, 3 rings, so that's why the Pacers, during the 90s, the success we had, a lot as LeBron James knocks down a shot. That is why we went to another level, was because of Byron Scott.
Yeah, and I had a chance to coach him at Arizona State for a year, and I just enjoyed my time with him. He was a hard worker, always came out every day to get better. And he and I played the same position, so we really worked on being a 2-guard, and he was fabulous in the NBA.
Nice fadeaway by Amari Stoudemire. And Byron Scott, you'll recall, took the Nets to 2 NBA Finals and has made it back, as you mentioned earlier, Doug, from they stuck with him here with the Hornets, an 18-win season. They won 18 and 64, 4 years back?
And he says because of that, this game means more to him, not only because it's in New Orleans, but what this team has been through.
A couple of years in Oklahoma City. The economic situation here in the city of New Orleans following Hurricane Katrina. And as Boozer tried to get it back outside, he's called for steps. So the ball back to the East. I mentioned the 2 finals appearances with the New Jersey Nets. 3 titles as a player with the Lakers. Played 14 years in the NBA. Originally a first-round draft pick of the San Diego Clippers, 4th overall. That was back in 1983. Here comes Paul against the backpedaling Phillips, and Bosch also back to help. Nowitzki played tight by James. Stoudemire with the stuff. A facial served up on, yes, Superman.
Dwight Howard with a little sheepish smile on his face right now. See if he wants the ball back down in the post.
Oh, I think he does.
And in the post, Stoudemire defending on Howard. The rebound comes to Roy. 9.5 remaining in this fourth quarter. Here's Paul with the shovel pass. A beautiful move by Chris Paul to set up Carlos Boozer. 9 points, 10 assists for Chris Paul.
Well, the West is now showing some life here in this fourth quarter. We said if the game was competitive, these guys' juices would start to flow.
And that is deflected out. Last touch by the East.
This guy is so electric in the open floor. It looked like he was going to take a bounce pass and throw it between the legs of Chauncey Billups. He pulled it back, and Amari Stoudemire. See, one thing now, when Amari goes to the basket like that and Shaq's into there, nobody's going to leave Shaq for a little dump-off pass. So he's going to have some avenues to go to that basket here in the last 30 games for Phoenix.
Tim Duncan has come on for Carlos Boozer. Been playing very well. Nice move by Paul. Boozer leads with 14 and 10, and here's the West within 5.
I think Chris Paul might be making an MVP run here if his team can pull this game out.
Well, the man with the ball right here has led the West so far all game. Let's see if he's going to find an answer for the East.
It's an 8-0 run for the West. Foul is called by Stoudemire and a timeout taken. Pretty pass from Paul, and Boozer lays it home. Well, we've been talking about this, and voting is now open for the All-Star Game MVP. Enter to win a trip for two to the 2008 NBA Finals. Just log on to NBA.com or text the player's last name to 38657. Standard text messaging rates do apply.
Like how you have your cell phone in your hand and
I'm ready.
You wanted to be one of the first texters. That's very nice. They're marvelous.
But as always, I am undecided. 3 minutes, 20 seconds in to the fourth quarter. And the East lead has been cut to 5. They've led by as many as 16. Shot clock down to 2, down to 1. And
has that ever happened
it is a
before?
violation, yes.
The 24-second violation in an exhibition All-Star game?
I thought he got an extra second also.
He did.
Yeah, I was waiting for the official whistle.
Well, Marv, this is what we talked about. The game is on now, a little over 8 minutes to go. It's a 5-point game, and now the competitiveness is going to start to rise.
A game that has certainly had its flurries, particularly back in the second quarter. Here is Duncan giving it up. Stoudemire again! With Dwight Howard in the area.
Are you trying to like come up with a WWF between Dwight Howard and Amari Stoudemire?
It's a 10-0 run, stopped by that long-range jumper by LeBron James. It's a 2. He had a foot on the line.
Now look how big this lineup is now for the West. Amari Stoudemire playing small forward with Duncan and Nowitzki.
And here's Dirk for 3.
Now it's going to be fun.
Well, I'm going to tell you one person. I'm looking at Kobe Bryant's expressions over there on the bench right now, and he is itching to be a part of this game.
Here's Billups from downtown. Bosch able to keep it alive and lost it. Paul took it away. Paul with the lob, and Roy connects. The game is tied at 110. Rip Hamilton of the Pistons finding Chris Bosch of the Raptors. He's rejected. Roy up with it. Tough pass to handle. Threw it at the feet of Paul, and it is deflected out of bounds. Last touch by the East.
Chris Paul in the open court getting it done. Brandon Roy doing a good job of running the lanes right here. They've gone to somewhat of their small lineup, the West squad, led by Chris Paul.
Well, they've gone to a big lineup, Reg. You got Amari out there with Duncan and Nowitzki. The East has gone small. Now they've got Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, LeBron James, and Jason Kidd. So they have 4 guards and Dwight Howard. So now the West is gigantic on that front line.
And Kidd trying to defend on Nowitzki, who spins around him and scores, and the West has the lead for the first time tonight. Billups over Nowitzki.
I can hear George Blaha right now, Mr. Big Shot. Fourth quarter.
George, the voice of the Detroit Pistons. He's saying he's turning down the sound and calling the game
Exactly.
to practice.
He right now is just working on his own game at home.
Nowitzki to the fade. Duncan able to keep it alive. Duncan banks it home.
When you look at the size of the West right now, they are going to try to pound the ball down low to their big guys.
Billups for 3. And Stoudemire able to get to it. 6 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. Paul drives the lane. Rebounded by Howard. Billups trying to put a move on Stoudemire. You see Stoudemire talking to him about it. James guarded by Paul. Shot clock to 5. James for 3 and air ball. Well, the crowd enjoyed that. A little conversation between LeBron James and Chris Paul. Coming up on 5.5 remaining in the fourth. The West up by 2.
Why you come to the side? I think you throw on the side. My bad. Hey, what's those you got on your feet, Eddie? Hey, air tars. Let's go with that. Good pass, boy. And one. There we go. Let's go. Oh, we're going to wiggle on him. Good pass, boy. There we go.
He hit you? Elbow me. Bent like back in my mouth. You know, we're going to try to find him in the back. I'll hold him down. You can try to drop the elbow on him. Look at it.
Well, with me, Steve Nash, and we saw some of his inside tracks. Who are you trying to rough up on your arm there?
No, I think a lady hit me on the with the towel toss. She hit me in the back of the head. So, you know, she needs to work on her arm strength, I think.
We saw you guys get back into the game using a small lineup, and then came back even further with a big lineup. When did this game become so competitive?
Well, it's just been a lot of fun for us. We've been working hard together, you know, the last couple days. And it's been a lot of fun for us, so thanks, bro.
Hey, thanks a lot. Hey, you know, after 14 consecutive appearances, we all miss Shaquille O'Neal at this All-Star game. He's back actually practicing in Phoenix today. What's he going to do for you guys?
I don't miss him. I want him at home practicing, getting ready. So we're all excited for him. And, you know, if he keeps working as hard as he is, he'll be back in the All-Star game next year.
It's entertaining, a showcase, but you got some new shoes on. Tell us about them.
These actually are the first high-performance recycled shoe. It's 100% recycled from rubber and leather, and just trying to erase our footprint on this planet, or take a step in the right direction, if you will.
All right, and they're called the trash talk, which isn't very conducive to your image.
I know, so that's part of the comedy of it. You know, I'm not really a trash talker, but the shoe is made from trash, literally. So
by Nike.
By Nike, yes.
All right, thanks a lot. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Craig, as Wade takes to the rim, and it's put home on the follow by Dwight Howard, and the game is tied at 114. And those new shoes called Trash Talk stems from Steve Nash's passion for the environment, more so than his behavior on the court. As Nowitzki comes up with air.
You know, when you look at Dirk Nowitzki's stats on the year, he only has 41 made threes this year. He was upwards of over 2 a game as we see LeBron lay the ball in, but he really has gone away from the three-point shot.
Shooting only 29% from beyond the three-point line, and Avery Johnson actually had tried to pull him back from shooting threes. Here's Nowitzki to the rim. And the game is tied at 116.
Well, that's where he wants him, down in that mid-post area where he can get to the rim and get to the free throw line more often.
Coming up on 4 minutes to play in the fourth. Wade had nowhere to go, and the West comes up with it. Byron Scott staying with Chris Paul at the point in these final minutes. Try to get it down low, and a foul. A loose ball foul is called. It's on the East. Foul on Howard, that's his third.
You know, you talk about the shoes with Steve Nash. You look out there, Reggie. Everybody broke out their shoe for this this event. It's amazing where sneakers have come in the last 20 years.
Well, listening to LeBron James, even the officials, as he kind of got on Eddie Rush. Eddie Rush is calling his air tars.
Now Duncan working the post, facing a double, gets it back out to Paul. They swing it. Nowitzki. And Wade is on it. And here is Wade to the rim, and he's turned back. Stoudemire, yes, and the foul as he was shoved, was able to get it up, and he's headed to the line.
Well, Myers Stoudemire getting it done at both ends of the floor. He denies Dwayne Wade at one end, runs the floor and gets the and one. Dwayne Wade thinks he has an easy alley to the rim right there. Amari Stoudemire out of nowhere.
Foul on Howard, that's his fourth. So Stoudemire looking for his 19th point as he gets set to shoot the free throw.
You know, Amari takes a lot of stuff about his defense in Phoenix. He's the 6th leading shot blocker in the NBA. So you put him with Shaq in there now, I think it's even going to enhance his ability to guard that rim.
Here's Allen from way downtown. Ray Allen with a three to give the East A 1-point lead. Allen off the bench for 17. Paul, yes. How about Chris Paul? What a performance. 13 points along with 12 assists. So the West back up by 1. Here comes Paul on the open floor. Has Roy. Brandon Roy has played well. Has not been looking for his shot. But he's done a good job in distributing the ball.
Now Chris Paul's changed his whole game since he's come in.
The West with its biggest lead up by 3 with 2:35 left in the fourth. Paul defending on James once again. Allen with another deep 3 and scores.
Ray Allen from long distance, keeping this East squad in the ball game, tying it up, back-to-back threes.
That's his 4th 3 of the night. We are approaching 2 minutes to go in the fourth. Paul for 3. Rebounded by Wade. Allen open for 3. Yes!
Ooh, he is smoking.
And fuego.
125-122. The East on top, 23 points for the Boston Celtics. Ray Allen, 9 have come here in the fourth on the 3 3-pointers. And a timeout is being called.
Transition. Ray Allen gets to the corner right there. Wide open 3. 3 triples in a row for Ray Allen. 23 points.
With Ray Allen leading the way, the East with a 125-122 lead with 1:49 remaining in the game. Let's take a look at our Vantage Point camera. Vantage Point is in theaters on Friday.
Well, you see the weak side there defensively. All eyes are on LeBron James. A beautiful cross-court pass. Tim Duncan cannot get out. The quick release of Ray Allen. He gets the kind roll. 3 straight threes. And he's put himself in the MVP voting here now. 23 points in 17 minutes.
He hit the 3 threes over the last minute 16. He's 5 of 8 for the game. Overall 23 points. He scored the last 9 for the East. The All-Star game record for most threes. Mark Price hit 6 back in '93. Allen with 5. 1:45 left in this fourth quarter. And the West in possession, trailing by 3. That is deflected away. Last touch by Wade, and the West with 6 on the shot clock.
Well, it's interesting. The East looks like they're in a zone, and they're trapping the post now. They're going back and double teaming the post, so you're seeing some defensive scheming here now.
Well, LeBron James is guarding as Chris Paul laces up a 3.
So the game is tied at 1:25 with 1.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And here's Allen looking for 6. Rebounded by Duncan. Chris Paul now 16 points, 9 in the fourth quarter, along with 13 assists. He's in the MVP discussion. They double up on Duncan. Shot clock to 4. Wild pass attempted by Nowitzki, and it's picked off. So back comes LeBron with 1 minute to play in the fourth. He goes all the way! Woo! LeBron James with that change of pace move to give the East a 2-point lead. James has 27. Nowitzki, Paul charged for an offensive foul.
Now he actually wiped out the defender when he handed that ball off to Dirk Nowitzki. This play is spectacular. Remember, Amari Stoudemire had gotten a block in there recently. Not this time. As he hands his ball, if he just wipes out Ray Allen.
And this has developed into one of the best finishes in All-Star game history. 35 seconds left. Here's Wade. Yes, and the foul. The East up by 4 with 35 seconds to go in the fourth, and Wade is headed to the line.
Well, LeBron James got it done on the previous play, and now Dwayne Wade comes down in the teeth of the defense. Brandon Roy all over him. You saw him make that and one before over his shoulder. Degree of difficulty.
Dwayne Wade, a 76% free throw shooter. not able to complete the three-point play.
He has not shot them well in the fourth quarter this year.
Half-minute remaining. Nowitzki has a three-point shot blocked by Wade. Recovered by Paul. He fires for three. It's tipped and missed. And back comes Kidd. Allen takes all the way. With 15 seconds to go, it's a 131-125 lead for the East. Time running out on the West. Roy for three. With 8.7 to go, the East lead is down to 3. Kidd inbounds, has Allen, and he is fouled by Paul to stop the clock. And we would like to point out, guys, that the polls are still open. Remember to vote for the All-Star Game MVP by logging on to NBA.com or texting the player's last name to 38657. 38657. Ray Allen, one of the league's best free throw shooters, 91% at the line. He's among the leaders. Ray Allen, a late add to the All-Star squad, replacing the injured Caron Butler of Washington, has 26 points. 12 have come in the last 3 minutes.
And when I talked to Doc Rivers a couple weeks ago, he said he's still trying to learn to incorporate Ray Allen into their offense there. Well, today he found a way to do it. And Ray Allen got hot at the right time, and it looks like the East is going to pull this one out.
Down to 6 seconds to go. That was last touched by the West. And now substitution. Chauncey Billups will come on for Dwight Howard. Howard with 16 points, 9 rebounds.
Doc Rivers got all these really good free throw shooters out there.
Kidd with the inbounds. He knocked it in off Nowitzki's foot and then was able to get to it as a foul is called. Stop the clock with 1.8 remaining. And the West is over the foul limit. So Allen to the line. Foul by Paul. A moment ago, Ray Allen missed a free throw, which is most unusual.
He's missed 2 tonight. Right. Very uncharacteristic of Ray.
And Ray Allen, a leading contender for most valuable player honors.
You like him, Coach?
I voted early and often.
And from the body language, the indication is that Doug, who had a vote, went for Ray Allen.
I did. I thought he changed the game. I thought Chris Paul, had they won, would have gotten my vote because of what he did to get his team back in the game. But Ray Allen's electric shooting, we'll see if the other people agree with me, but I thought he changed the game with those brilliant shots.
And an exciting finish to this 57th NBA All-Star Game. Ray Allen, 28 points, 14 over the last 3 minutes and 20 seconds, and the East wins 134-128. We'll be right back.
The 2008 NBA All-Star Game, live from New Orleans, Louisiana, is brought to you by Bud Light. Endless refreshment from start to finish. Bud Light keeps it coming. By State Farm, unbeatable good neighbor service for the same or less than those other guys. By Sprite with Lyman. And by Hyundai. Discover the power of thoughtful engineering at thinkaboutit.com.
Welcome back to New Orleans. A strong finish, a stirring finish to the 57th NBA All-Star Game. The East over the West, 134-128. For the announcement of the game's most valuable player, let's go to public address announcer Chuck Edwards.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome TNT's Ernie Johnson for the presentation of the Most Valuable Player Award.
All right, thank you very much. Great show, New Orleans. And if you follow the NBA, you know who these two guys are. The first word belongs to the commissioner of the NBA, David Stern.
Thank you, Ernie. Thank you, New Orleans. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you for hosting us. And thank you for allowing us to participate with you in the restoration of this great American city. Thank you to all of the All-Stars and all of the participants in this weekend who worked in the day of service to help restore this city. Thank you to the entire NBA family. But especially thank you to tonight's All-Stars, the greatest players in the world playing a spectacular game. Give them a hand. Thanks, guys. But there has to be an MVP, and tonight we have a deserving one. LeBron James, 27 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 blocks, and 1 steal. What else did you do tonight, LeBron? Congratulations. 2008 NBA All-Star MVP, LeBron James.
LeBron, the last 2 times the East has won, you've been the MVP. Now, last year, these guys spanked you pretty good. Did that enter the thinking as you guys took the court tonight?
Well, absolutely. You know, we didn't want to come out here and get beat up on again, so the East did a great job, man. We got a big lead in the first half, and we were staying they run in the fourth quarter, which they put on a good one, and we made plays down the stretch.
This thing was kind of up in the air as far as who the MVP would be. If it were not you, who did you look on the East side?
I think Ray Allen had a heck of a shooting night. He kept us in the game in the fourth quarter, and you know, he's the reason why we was able to keep the lead. His shooting ability is unbelievable.
How would you describe in closing this week in New Orleans, first time this city has ever hosted the All-Star game? How would you put it into words?
Well, I hope, you know, not just me, but every All-Star from the East and West was able to put smiles on kids and on families' faces. I think we all know what happened, the devastation down here, and, you know, to bring the NBA All-Star game here, I think it really uplifted the families down here, and, you know, we had a great time. Thank you, New Orleans, for allowing us to be here.
LeBron James, your MVP of All-Star 2008. Back to you, Marv.
All right, thank you, Ernie. And as Ernie mentioned, a second MVP award in All-Star play for LeBron. He won it in Houston 2 years ago at 21, the youngest player to win All-Star MVP honors at that time. There were several candidates, and you can make a case for a couple of guys. LeBron James, 27 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, had that driving dunk to put the East ahead to stay in the final minute. Ray Allen, a spectacular shooting exhibition, 14 points over the last 3.5 minutes. He had 28 for the night, including 5 threes, one shy of an All-Star record. Dwight Howard, 7 of 7 from the field, 16 points. The West with balanced scoring, 18 apiece for Amari Stoudemire, Brandon Roy, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul of the Hornets, 16 points, 14 assists. Certainly a MVP candidate, and Carlos Boozer, 14 and 10. Thanks to our producer, Scooter Bertino, director Renardo Lowe, and a statistician, Paul Evans. Coming up next, a special encore presentation of tonight's All-Star game. For Doug Collins, Reggie Miller, David Aldridge, and Craig Sager, I'm Marv Albert. Thanks so much for tuning in. You're watching TNT, home of the Western Conference Finals. And for everything All-Star, log on to TNT Overtime at NBA.com. For all of us, we bid you good night from the Big Easy